Breaking news right now, on to the point. A shooting near Modesto businesses. A heavy police presence tonight. What we know about a suspect now in custody. Plus, severe weather in the valley, thunderstorms, and what happened with a tornado warning issued today.
The city of Sacramento is facing a multi-million-dollar deficit. What cuts are on the table and how that could impact departments like fire and police.
And Sequest Folsom sold following the company's bankruptcy. What this means for the animals and the future of the company.
Thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell, and we are following several developing stories tonight. First, severe weather in the valley causing tornado warnings all over several counties. These pictures shared by Eduardo Garcia shows what appears to be a funnel cloud in northern Merced County. We also had heavy storms in Sacramento today. This is video from around 11 this morning showing hail coming down right here in the ABC 10 parking lot. But I want to get over to meteorologist Brendan Minchef joining us tonight. Brendan, a busy weather day. What can we expect for the rest of the evening?
Yeah, that's right. Now, I do want to say that we still have an active radar out there. So this is not the end necessarily of the more crazy weather that we've had, certainly with the tornadoes, at least tornado warnings, and with the hail and the heavy rain as well. Looking from about 11 o'clock this morning, we'll replay it one more time. You saw that first round of rain moved through, and first round of thunderstorms brought some hail to the Sacramento metro. Here's where we are right now. We still have a fairly active scene on the east side of the metro, and certainly in the upper Sacramento Valley, some storms up there as well. So let's zoom in a little bit now. This is looking up towards Colusa. We do see another heavier band of rain. Now, this was a warned thunderstorm. So if you're warned thunderstorm when it was up near Chico, this is now not, and now has dropped below the severe thresholds there, but still bringing some heavy rain and some lightning from time to time as well. And then again, east side of the metro area, Cameron Park, Folsom, Citrus Heights, Roseville, Loomis, up towards Auburn and Placerville, seeing some non-severe thunderstorms as well. But again, you see the lightning in there with these storms moving through the east side of the metro. And then into the San Joaquin Valley, things are a lot quieter right now, but we still have some very tiny cells developing, and that is how the previous two tornado warned storms developed earlier this afternoon. I'm not saying these will become tornado warned. I'm just saying they look small, but they can very quickly pop up. Over the next few hours here on Futurecast, things really do start to calm down by 8 o'clock. This is going to be kind of the end of that thunderstorm chance. And then overnight, we're even going to clear out. We'll have clearing skies, but likely some patchy fog to start tomorrow morning. We'll start near 40 degrees in the valley. In the next few days, do look a little calmer. Still going to have a rain chance overnight Wednesday into Thursday. Temperatures climb a little bit for the first day of spring, but I'm also tracking the first 80-degree day of the year. That's coming up later in the show, Alex.
All right, Brendan, thank you. Weather is also to blame for a partial roof collapse at a grocery store in Oakdale. It happened at the Cost Less off North Yosemite Avenue. That's exactly where we find ABC 10's Garshpal Sangha tonight. Garshpal, what have you learned so far about this roof collapse?
Yeah, Alex, since we've been here in Oakdale rather, we haven't seen a lot of crazy weather, but the rain has returned, and a lot of people working here are blaming the rain for what is happening. And this is a better vantage point of what it looks like inside the store. This is the right-hand side of the store. You can see workers are in there. They're cleaning up. They're fixing the roof. We're told this roof collapsed near the produce section, so crews have been coming in and out, removing that debris. They've been making sure everything is working in there. Right now, that store is closed, so that is why many customers are being turned away. Now, Modesto Fire says they received a call just before 2:30 for a rescue at the store on North Yosemite Avenue in Oakdale. When first responders got there, they found a roof collapse causing a 20 by 20 foot hole in the ceiling inside that store next to that produce section. We're told it caused flooding in the store. 2 people suffered minor injuries. One of them were taken to the hospital. Now that store was evacuated and remains closed. And until they clean things up, fix the ceiling, and also we're told the sprinkler system was also damaged. So a lot of customers have been coming over the past 4 hours trying to see if the store is open, but they're being turned away. So no word on when they're going to reopen, but just from the side view we can see here, it looks like the damage is extensive here. So as you see a crew taking out more debris and putting it in the container. So people have been just coming in and out, just removing all that. No word exactly just how bad of a damage it is, but crews did tell us it's going to be a while before they reopen. Just don't know exactly when that is. But as soon as we do find out, we will make sure to tell you about it. Reporting live in Oakdale, Garshpal Sangha, ABC 10.
All right, Garshpal, thank you so much. And we're also following breaking news in Modesto tonight. One person was taken to the hospital after a shooting involving Modesto police. It happened along Dale Road around 1 this afternoon. Video was shared with us showing heavy police presence at a shopping center in the area. ABC 10's Gabriel Porras has been on the scene all afternoon and has the details tonight.
Well, the focus of much of the investigation here at the scene is centered around this Max Muscle Sports nutrition store. We have seen officers with the Modesto PD and even ATF agents go inside and out of the store throughout the afternoon here. There is not much to see from the outside except for some evidence markers and, of course, detectives doing their work on the inside there. We do know that this happened just around 1 p.m. today here in the 3200 block of Dale Road. We are told a suspect is at a hospital and there was no threat to the public as of 3:30 p.m. We did talk to a witness. He says he was inside of the nutrition store at the time when this all happened. He says police came in, told him to leave and get out. Listen to what he says happened next.
Seen a couple of the PD show up, and soon after that, they escorted us, outside of the property, and after that point, we rushed, myself and another individual, we rushed to Wendy's and hit the floor with all the rest of the employees, and soon after that, we heard all the gunshots.
And he says he has never been in this type of a situation before. It was shocking, scary to say the least. The police department has a large perimeter of this scene blocked off here. Dale Road is blocked from Standiford to Braden. They do expect to have this area blocked off for at least several hours as they continue their investigation all across the street here from the Vintage Fair Mall, a very busy part of Modesto. In Modesto, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
And I know that was a lot of breaking news all at once. And these are stories that we are going to continue to follow on air and online. Of course, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to our team at abc10.com. All right, the city of Sacramento is faced with a multi-million-dollar budget deficit, as ABC 10 has reported. That may mean some cuts. And on the line, we're getting a clearer picture from city leaders about what actually might be cut. So ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen has been following this story and explains what's being proposed and how residents can voice their concerns.
Alex, some of the proposed cuts are to departments like Sacramento Fire and Police, but the mayor and a council member both say there is still not a final list of cuts. They're hoping residents can make their voices heard so the city knows what's important to their constituents.
Adopt a budget which is going to be cutting roughly $44 million from our budget. So that's going to have an impact on the people of Sacramento.
The city of Sacramento is facing a budget deficit of $44.1 million. And in order to balance it, the city asked its departments to propose budget balancing strategies. Those could include possible cuts to parks, fire, and police.
The list is daunting and pretty scary to people out there. Like, oh, we don't want that, so neither do we. So that's our job, is to look at options, ideas, look for the least amount of pain to the city of Sacramento, and most importantly, our residents.
And in addition to cuts, the city is considering raising costs for residents for things like parking fees. Mayor Kevin McCarty says it's still too early to tell what cuts and increases may happen.
So we're going to have to focus on which, revenue ideas have the least amount of pain on businesses and residents, and which amount of reductions in programs have the least amount of impact on core city services like police, fire, parks, recreation, youth programs.
Some of the city's options to cut back on costs are to eliminate certain jobs, which could result in layoffs throughout city departments.
We're not in a position to say there absolutely will be no layoffs, so that would I'd love to be able to say that at this point. We can't say that just yet.
As cuts are looming within the city's budget, Councilmember Roger Dickinson says there are some positives coming, especially for his district in North Sacramento. He says it's an area that's been ignored for decades, but says City Council recently approved a plan called D2 Thrives.
Implementation of the community plan or the action plan for Del Paso Boulevard, Marysville Boulevard that was approved last year. So now we're moving ahead with $600,000 through that to help with business development, to help with community organizations.
Dickinson believes these investments will have long-lasting positive effects on the city.
All right, and Jeannie, the city says that they will hold public meetings in May to talk about options to cut, and then a final budget will be adopted in June. I know that you also reached out to Sacramento Fire and the police department for more information regarding potential cuts. What did they have to say about all this?
Well, Alex, a spokesperson for police tells me that the right tools and proper staffing levels will help maintain public safety and meet the needs of the community. And a fire spokesperson says there are different options of what budget cuts could look like, and cuts to fire may not necessarily happen. I have posted fire and police's full statement on our website at abc10.com.
All right, Jeannie, thank you for that update. Stay with us. Coming up onto the point, a decades-old immigration rule set to be enforced. Tonight, the concerns from local immigration attorneys and new details about Sequest Folsom, who the company was sold to, and what it means for the future of the animals. Let's get things straight over to meteorologist Brendan Minchef. It has been an extremely busy day with our weather forecast. Looking ahead, what can we expect?
Quieter once we get past the rest of, this evening. Certainly still seeing some rain out there, still seeing some lightning and snow, of course. Up in the high country, I feel like we've barely mentioned the snow today, but as we can see from the alert California cameras, Amador County, Bald Mountain getting some snow. Still Walnut Grove, this is looking north towards the Sacramento area. You can see a lot of dark clouds still up there in the Sacramento Valley, and then Williams looking at a storm passing as well. So now let's take a look at what it looks like from the radar. So from top down, again, still very active out there. Plenty of snow ongoing across the high country. Chain controls across 80 and 50 right now. We also see some thunderstorms. We'll talk first about that storm up near Williams. Again, there's Williams there, and that's the camera that was looking into that storm. This was severe warned when it was up closer to Chico. It is now no longer severe warned, but still seeing some heavy rain out of that storm. Areas to the northeast of Sacramento, Cameron Park, Folsom, Citrus Heights, Roseville, Loomis, Auburn, along Highway 49, seeing some pretty heavy rain. The amount of lightning has decreased over the last 15 minutes or so, but certainly still some heavy rain there. And we definitely saw some hail up near Citrus Heights. We've gotten a lot of pictures of hail in Citrus Heights. Please continue to send those in. We love to see them. Also down in the San Joaquin Valley, some very scattered cells at the moment, but nothing close to what we'd seen earlier this afternoon. And then finally, again, snow ongoing in the high country. So the radar is still active, but that thunderstorm chance over the next hour to hour and a half or so will really start to dwindle. Our rain chances, the last of them, about 10 to 11 o'clock tonight. Snow starts to taper off once we go into those overnight hours. It'll be clear skies, but potentially some fog to start Tuesday morning in the valley, and then Tuesday afternoon even looks mostly sunny. So starting off near 40 degrees. Tomorrow, clearing skies, but again, some fog likely developing, especially on the east side of the valley. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be in those low 60s, mostly sunny, but still below average for the time of year. The average is 67. We'll be closer to about 62 across much of the valley. Longer range futurecast. Another system pushes in late Wednesday, brings us some rain overnight Wednesday into Thursday morning, some snow in the high country. Then Thursday afternoon actually looks pretty dry and will likely stay dry headed into the weekend, but I've got some warmer weather on the way. First day of spring is Thursday. We'll still be in those mid 60s. Look what happens though from the weekend onwards. We go from the 70s, upper 70s, and Alex, that could be our first 80-degree day next Tuesday.
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. Next, on to the point, questions remain over the legality of Trump invoking an act to deport hundreds of immigrants. This is an immigration registration law is set to be enforced. We'll have all the details for you after the break.
Our free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app has so much to offer. Get your news live and on demand 24/7, so you can watch the news when you want. There's breaking news, extended forecast, and so much more. We have everything you need to get through your day and ready for the weekend. We've got you covered on money-saving tips, travel, entertainment, and sports. Download the free ABC 10 Plus app on your smart TV and popular streaming devices like Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and more. ABC 10. We stand for you 24/7.
Turning now to the Trump administration's first 100 days in office. Tonight, a showdown between President Donald Trump and the federal court over his deportation of hundreds of alleged immigrant gang members. Over the weekend, the Trump administration flew 2 planes carrying immigrants to El Salvador, even as a federal judge issued an order to temporarily bar the deportations. Trump invoked the Alien Enemies Act from 1798 to deport those immigrants. It is the first time it has been used since World War II. The ACLU is suing the Trump administration over the deportations.
We are not saying at this point that the government defied the court order, but we are saying there are serious reasons to potentially think that they did.
I don't know. You have to speak to the lawyers.
The ACLU says the act is intended to be used against a nation that declared war against the U.S. or has invaded the U.S. The ACLU says that has not happened. The Trump administration says it did not violate the order. And the Department of Homeland Security will begin to enforce a law that requires immigrants to register with the federal government. Failure to register could result in a fine, imprisonment, or both. The announcement has immigration attorneys concerned. ABC 10's Roxana Elias has the story for us tonight.
To have this kind of self-report requirement, it is a little bit scary for sure.
Victoria Argumedo, a former immigration judge, is talking about the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's interim final rule going into effect in April. Last month, Secretary Kristi Noem announced DHS will fully enforce the Immigration and Nationality Act. It requires all aliens 14 years of age or older who were not registered and fingerprinted when applying for a U.S. visa and who remain in the United States for 30 days or longer must apply for registration and fingerprinting.
There was no confusion as to what the purpose of this was. It's to have individuals who have no lawful status registered and to make it easier for the Department of Homeland Security to identify and potentially detain and remove those individuals.
Julian Sanchez Mora, also an immigration attorney, says it relates to the Alien Registration Act of 1940, which he says was never really enforced before the current administration. And now the attorneys fear there may be consequences when people register.
There are concerns that it's targeting people that have not ever had any issues with immigration of any kind. So these are people that have never been deported.
Or if you don't register.
If there's willful failure to register, then there are criminal penalties associated with that willful failure to register.
Argumedo calls the registration a scare tactic, and they say people need to look at it on a case-by-case scenario.
We are not advising people to break any laws or anything like that, obviously. But if you have a question as to whether or not you yourself would need to report, definitely is the time to consult with somebody with an immigration attorney.
Roxana Elias, ABC 10.
And some other information to note, that rule takes effect on April 11th. The attorney says registration is currently online, only offered online, and it can only be done through the account of the registrant. All right, new details about the future of Sequest. That is the interactive aquarium and zoo in Folsom's Palladio Mall that has been sold. ABC 10 has spent over a year investigating Sequest, uncovering allegations of animal neglect, safety concerns, and customer injuries. Our reporting led to calls for a state investigation, a proposed animal protection law, the CEO's resignation, and the company filing for bankruptcy. As part of the company's bankruptcy, Sequest in Folsom was sold, including all of its animals. The sale was approved after a court-appointed trustee warned that Sequest was within weeks of running out of cash. This is video provided to ABC 10 that shows Sequest Folsom nearly empty. And our question is, who owns Sequest now? Well, it's Jeff Cox, a businessman who already had financial ties to Sequest. Court records show his company held a stake in Sequest before its bankruptcy, and now he's taking over under a new name that's called NorCal Aquarium and Wildlife Adventures, leaving former employees and animal welfare groups asking, is this a new chapter or just Sequest under a new name?
Essentially, it appears that it's going to be the same animal abuse under a different name. Humane World for Animals just wants to continue to urge the public to see this for what it is. It's an attempt for Sequest investors to recoup their losses, and animals who have suffered at the hands of Sequest will continue to suffer at the hands of NorCal Aquarium or anything else that takes its place.
ABC 10 reached out to Jeff Cox asking if he'll be continuing to sell animal interactions for profit. We did not hear back, and court records show he also purchased the Sequest assets at the New Jersey and Utah locations. A Facebook page and U.S. Department of Agriculture license for NorCal Aquarium and Wildlife have already been registered and at the same location in the Palladio Mall. And court records show Sequest owed the Palladio Mall over $160,000. But as part of this sale, Palladio's landlord agreed to waive that debt. We also reached out to the Palladio Mall asking why they agreed to this deal and if they're allowing Sequest to remain there under a new name. They responded saying their policy is not to comment on ongoing tenant bankruptcy matters. You can watch all of our investigative reporting right now on Sequest. It's up on our ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. That app is completely free to download to your TV. And stay with us. We're back after this short break. All right, before we go here, I know that a lot of news is happening in the world, even a lot in our forecast just today. But if you have something that you want to share with us, or if you just have a question you want to reach out to us or our weather team, who's always working so hard, feel free to always reach out to our team at tothepoint@abc10.com. We can't thank you enough for watching and for inviting us into your home each and every night. So you can always reach out to us again at tothepoint@abc10.com. And you can always watch our content on the ABC 10 Plus streaming app. It is completely free to download.